January is one of the coldest months of the year, and we're still going to have days and nights of cold weather ahead. So during the cold weather, we make sure that we are safe and warm. It's important to keep our pets in mind as well. Just last week, a dog froze to death after being left outside a rescue building in Guilford County. Guilford County Animal Services released this video showing someone leaving the dog in a bin. The person reaches into a nearby donation bin to grab a blanket and put it into the container. Animal Services says the dog was alive when it was dropped off, but was indeed found dead the next morning. Dr. Kelly Gephardt from Happy Tails Veterinary Clinic is joining us today to talk about cold weather safety when it comes to our pets, as well as Valentine's treats that are not good for your pet. All right, so she is taking questions from you about all kinds of things. So we want you to get your text question in. The number is 336-379-5775. We're going to start, though, with the basic safety recommendations when it comes to cold weather and when it comes to the pets that we have.
Right. So I'm so glad that we're addressing this because we still have lots of cold nights coming up, lots of below freezing temperatures. And we need to remember that if it's too cold for us outside, it's too cold for them. And we need to keep in mind that especially outdoor pets, we need to check on them 2 to 3 times a day and make sure that their outdoor shelters are appropriate. It can't just be, say, a plastic barrel or a metal barrel. It needs to be an appropriate outdoor housing situation, a dog house with straw and other warm bedding to make sure that they have proper insulation to stay warm, especially short-coated breeds because they just can't stay warm. Another really important thing to do to help our outdoor pets is to make sure they have extra calories because it's going to take extra energy for them to keep their bodies warm. So extra protein and extra calories to help support them and keep their bodies warm during these cold times. It's also really important to check on your pets 2 to 3 times a day to make sure that their water bowls are not frozen. A lot of people don't think about this, but those water bowls can freeze. This is for cats, dogs, and large animals as well. Horses and cows, they need to be checked on as well because their water can freeze over. So during these cold times, check on all those things: proper shelter, extra calories, unfrozen water. Make sure they have lots of water to drink because their bodies need hydration in the winter especially. And just really keeping in mind, if it's too cold for us outside, it's too cold for them. Those are some good pointers.
All right, and that's for the maybe pets that spend a lot of time outside, hours and hours outside. Let's talk about when we take our dogs for walks and things of that nature. Paws are a place you need to keep a close eye on. I know, like in the summertime, you tell us to put our hand on the asphalt, and if it's too hot for our hand to be there flat for a couple of seconds, it's too hot for the dog. What about too cold for their paws?
Right. So if it's too cold, well, when you go outside, there are a couple of different things to consider in the winter. You can actually get a little snow burn between the toes. If you have salt down for ice, you can actually get that salt stuck in between those toes, which can cause skin irritation. If they lick it, it can actually cause some toxicity. So you want to make sure to check their paws when you go outside. If you spend a lot of time outside, if they like booties, or you can train them to booties. Booties will help protect their little feet. And when you come back inside, wipe their paws off, maybe with a warm, wet washcloth to get off any snow or salt and keep those paws nice and clean. And there are some really nice like salves and ointments out there that you can use to protect their little paws if you notice they start getting cracked. Just don't let them walk on your carpet or lick it. You see both of those, you have little paw prints all over your house and they could make them sick if they lick it. So you don't want to do that.
Gotcha.
But yeah.
The thought of putting booties on my dog, though, is kind of like hilarious to me.
They're going to do like doo 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 and be like, what's this?
Okay.
Yeah.
So aside from the paws, what about cats? Because there's a lot of people who have outdoor cats, and that's where the cats want to live.
Yeah, absolutely. And some cats, they just will not be indoor cats. And if they're indoor for a little while, they just say, I got to go outside and go to the bathroom. It's just totally part of having an indoor-outdoor cat sometimes. Our cat Mau Mau is like that. Couple major things. One, in cold nights, after a cold night, you want to make sure to pound on the hood of your car or truck to make sure the cats didn't get up in the engine and looking for a warm place to stay, because they do that. So you pound on the hood, scoot them off. And outdoor cats also need proper shelter. And there's some really nice instructions online on how to build an outdoor cat shelter, just like out of Tupperware and insulation and straw. So you want to make sure to keep them warm as well, and fresh water that's not frozen for them. Those are some important tips.
All right. I guess that for the fresh water that's not frozen, that means that you just got to go out there every couple of hours or so.
Yes, overnight it can freeze. There are also some heated water bowls available, but you want to make sure that if you go out in the morning and the water's frozen, just give them some fresh water that's not frozen, and it should stay good through the day.
All right. We already have a question. Someone says, when should a dog have an extra layer like a sweater?
I think it's totally dog dependent. the ones that are really susceptible to cold are young dogs, really thin dogs, old dogs, dogs with other health issues. Say if they have a health issue that's causing them to lose weight, dogs with short coats instead of those nice big fluffy coats. Those are all dogs that may need a sweater or a jacket during cooler temperatures, and everybody's body temperature, bodies react differently to cold. So some dogs get chillier faster than other dogs. So you got to think about your individual dog. Also, overweight dogs, they already have a natural layer, so they probably don't need a sweater. But as far as your individual dog goes, look at your dog, assess those variables, and decide what works for them. And if you're going to go for a walk or you're going to go for a run. If you're going for a run and they're working up that body heat, they probably don't need a jacket. So those are some variables: really young, really old, really thin, short hair coat. Those are some good ones to consider. And how long you're going to go be outside and what your activity is.
Okay, and so like my dog loves to play the Frisbee or whatever, even when it's like 24 degrees. Yeah. I know you tell us sometimes just because they like doing something doesn't mean you should let them do it. So is it okay for the dogs to take a really good walk or run or whatever when it's that cold?
I think so, as long as you feel like they're doing well and they're conditioned to it. It's not like something you just do totally like once a winter, but if they're doing it all the time and you feel like they're doing okay with it, getting that exercise is really important. And you have a chocolate lab, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so he's got a thicker coat, and as opposed to say a greyhound with a really thin coat. So yeah, I think as long as you feel like your dog is doing well with it, go for it.
Okay. All right, folks. So we're going to be talking about Valentine's Day approaching and some things that may be in your house on Valentine's Day that maybe you don't want your pets to get a hold of. We're also taking your questions. So get your question in text 336-379-5775. We'll be